And you're live.
Oh, no feed. Well, welcome to Life Mastery Radio with Todd, Allen, and Jackie. I'm used to hearing my lead-in music, so that kind of gets me all charged up and ready to go. But here we are. We're ready to go. Welcome to the show that brings you great thoughts and ideas for you to use on your very own life mastery journey. And as always, you know, I woke up this morning and decided it was going to be a groovy day. And so far, it's a groovy day, and it's even going to be groovier because I have these three people on the show with me today, and it's going to rock. We've got a really good show set up for you. We've got some testimonials, and we're going to take someone through the process. We have a guinea pig on the show to know. But before we get started, let's just get ourselves centered. And I just really would like for you to just take a minute and consciously think about that which gives you power. What do you connect to? Whatever that is, just bring that into your thought process and find some gratitude in knowing that that's where you get your inspiration, your thoughts and ideas, and your motivation to certainly tune into the show today. So just consciously connect to that. Let's take in a deep breath. And let that breath out with a big ah. Flow through you, up through your heart center, out of your speaker box, and out into the universe. Let those dreams, visions, and goals float out there, and for sure, allow that power, whatever it is that you connect to, the opportunity to make those come true for you. There we go. As always, I have my co-hosts. I have both co-hosts with me today. There's Jackie Bailey. Say hi, Jackie.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
And there's Debbie, Coach Debbie. Hi, Coach Debbie. Who is it that says that? Coach Debbie?
That was my sponsee and our newsletter girl from Louisiana,
Caroline.
Coach Debbie.
Coach Debbie. And of course, our guest is with us, Linda, and Linda is there. She's getting ready for the show while we kind of do a little bit of housekeeping. And I want to remind the listeners, today's show page is at www.lifemasteryradio.net. You can go there, sign up for our newsletter. There's a link there for my book. Of course, you're going to go to Amazon and just love my book. Tell people about my book, and then leave me some feedback about that book. And anything that we talk about on the show today, the links will be there. I think they're already there for Linda's website. It's a fascinating website, and Linda is an amazing person. We're going to get into that a little bit more. Of course, Jackie Bailey's website is JackieBaileySpeaks.com, and Debbie's website is CoachDebbie.com. If you got a story in you, she's the one that will help you get it out, and she'll take you through that process. And maybe we'll talk. Well, let's just talk about. So, Jackie Bailey, let's hear about your new school of. It's not a school of rock. It's a school.
Well, I help kids rock.
Yeah, you do. There you go.
I help them rock their communication for sure.
It just opened.
Officially started classes yesterday. Yay!
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing that in a month, I mean, I signed the lease a little over a month ago, and bam, we've remodeled everything, and it's ready to roll and start. And yeah, I look forward to more classes this week as the kids start shuffling in, and we start working on helping them be more confident.
That's so cool. We're gonna dive into that story here in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing. And Coach Debbie has her own talk radio show on AM Live in the Seattle area, Story U Talk Radio, and she is a writing coach that takes you through that process. Tell us a little bit about that, Coach Debbie. What can a person expect if they have a story? Actually, I think you're really focused on helping people put their legacy to text.
That's true. So just like Jackie, 3 years ago, I was actually going on 4, was walking around looking for a space found a purple space, knew it was right for me. And everything fell into place really fast. The students showed up, the registration, we're doing their stories, their memoirs, their legacies. And it's been wonderful. Story you're coaching. And so now we're at this place where it's time to upgrade. And I know Linda is a great guide for that. When things get stagnant, how do you upgrade? How do you get into the place that you are now, you know? So I want the business and the coach to be on the same wavelength as
Very
opposed
cool.
to the business down here and the coach up there or whatever else. So yeah, CoachDebby.com. It's DEBBY, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting to walk people through their legacies and into their own, you know, their own spiritual stories.
Very cool. I met Debbie about 8 years ago. Debbie and I met on Match.com. So here's a story. But the first time I met her, she was a professor at a college, and I'm talking to her, and it just hit me. It's just like, you're a coach. You're a life coach. There's something about you that, and so we went on this journey and investigated some things, and here we are 8 years later, and it's a really groovy happening thing. Wouldn't you say so, my dear?
I would say so. I would say it's a very groovy and happening thing.
Make sure you say hello to the lamppost on your way out. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, darling.
Okay, I think I've talked about everything. I think we're ready for the show. Sign up for the newsletter. Jackie does a great job every week of highlighting the guests that are coming up, the guests that have been on, and she creates a blog post after every show to kind of entice you a little bit more to tell your friends about it or listen to it or whatever it is, or just kind of get that synopsis of what we talked about. So it's really cool. And that newsletter goes out every week. You can sign up for it. The only thing we use that email address for is that newsletter. So you can feel confident and safe that is what we do with that. Okie dokie.
And this show, Life Mastery Radio with Todd and Jackie, is the continuation. This is year 8 of the show of Life Mastery Radio with Todd Allen and Coach Debbie. For those who keep asking me, where is that blog?
Where did Debbie go? Coach Debbie go?
That's
Where is she at?
Jackie's blog. I just want to plug that for Jackie. That's now Jackie's blog and Jackie as co-host. I'm just visiting. So
Oh, you'll always be a co-host, and
Wow.
Jackie and I like to have fun. We like to have lots of people on. So anytime you
Yeah.
can join us, I'm really grateful that you're on today because I think this is going to make for a great show.
yeah,
The more the merrier.
yeah, just clearing up the questions for people.
That's right.
Totally. Okay, on with the show. Our guest today, if you haven't figured it out, is returning, and her name is Linda Deir. And Linda knows firsthand how to soar beyond the fears when you have the support of your spirit guides and angels. She survived 16 years of child abuse to her escape as a teenager and into phenomenal success as a businesswoman in a man's world by the age of 19 and beyond. All possible from the constant support and guidance she received from her spirit guides and angels, a vital connection that grants her access to knowing what to do and when to do it. Linda's flagship book, Guided, is the template to trigger the reader to a live and fearless, authentic life in spite of obstacles. Yes, it is true. We can attest to it, that you do have spirit guides and angels, as everyone does. Hi, Linda. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great, Todd. Looking forward to this. This is great.
Yeah. You got,
Yeah.
look at Jackie. Look at Jackie. Look at that smile. Look at that energy. Look at that radiance. I mean, it's like this huge transformation that I've just witnessed over the last, and it's been so fast. It's like, whew, where'd all this come from? I couldn't. So last week, Linda, on the show, I asked her, I said, okay, now you got to tell me the story. And she tells me, she says, well, you remember that show we did in April with Linda? And I said, yeah. And I know Linda and I know Linda's process. And she says, well, I just started doing it. And bada boom, bada bang, shaboom, all this stuff magically kind of happened. It's kind of cool. So I wanted kind of Jackie to tell us, give us the synopsis of how this all transpired.
Well, thank you for a little stage time here, Todd. I started probably 3 years ago with the idea of teaching children public speaking skills. I recognized a need, and I've been doing so now at different locations. So I would rent a community center, or I would rent an office space, a little room or something, and I would hold my classes there. And I was driving everywhere. And in fact, several days in a row, I would have all 3 meals in my car because I was going from one place to another. And we had Linda on the show in April. And in the midst of all this heaviness and getting through to all these classes and really loving it, after 3 years, I've really built up a good clientele and love what I'm doing, but feeling like there's got to be something more to this. But we had Linda on the show in August, and she told us her story. And she talked about how we can connect more with our guides through a journaling process. I used to be a tremendous journaler when I was a teenage girl. I wrote in my journal every day, almost religiously. And I got out of the habit of that, having children and jobs and career and things like that. But on May 1st, I got a journal and wrote in it for the first time. And this was my first entry on May 1st, 2019. A few days after our interview with Linda, or it might have even been the next day. At the encouragement of Linda Deir, our most recent guest on Life Mastery Radio, I've begun to journal. It's been many years since I journaled, so here we go. And I journaled every day since then. And at one point, it was on June 9th, while I was journaling that evening, I had an epiphany. And I had been thinking about what path to take, what to do, and I've been asking my guides. Linda tells us about 3 questions we can ask ourselves as we're journaling and write the answers to those. And so I was doing that, and the answers came just like a whirlwind in a moment. And I listed about 5 or 6 tasks that I wanted to accomplish, big steps in business that I wanted to do. And the first one was to open my own studio, my own space where I didn't have to travel around to give these classes. I could have the students come to me, and I could almost picture it in my mind. It was so clear to me that my guides were being very inspirational and actually allowing me to see this picture of what it would look like. And I could see where the desks would be, and I could see where there would be a little office space and things like this. I could see almost everything and how it would work. And I got so excited, and I felt so impressed to start working on it that I contacted a commercial real estate agent, and I said, I got to find something. You got to help me find some office space, so this is what I want. And it was around that time then that school was ending, summer camps were starting, and I was teaching 8 weeks of summer camp. And talking to the commercial agent, and he just wasn't finding me things that worked. I just didn't feel like this was going to work for me. But then in the midst of all the summer school busyness, I had an opportunity. It was a strange, I would say coincidence, but maybe it's connection, synchronicity, okay? Something happened with a friend of my husband that became clear that there was a space available that hadn't even gone on the market yet, that I should go look at. And I went over there and could see this is what I was seeing. This is what was going to make sense. And so it happened really quick. That was just a month ago. A month ago, I signed the lease to that building. Yesterday, my first 4 students walked into class in my new studio space. And this week, I've got classes lined up for my students in my own space.
It's fantastic.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
You know what's really cool about this, Linda, too, is when she told me the story, she explained to me that when she first was working with the guidance that she was getting, it was so clear. and so real that she knew this was it. There was no question about, is it a possibility? She just knew this is the deal. I just keep moving forward and this is going to happen.
Well, and let me tell you about this place I got, because it's not a typical office space. This is a little house that was built in 1922. And so it's got some problems. It's almost 100 years old. And
Right.
then it didn't even have a kitchen in the original house, and that was added on, and some bedrooms were added on in the 1940s. And the foundation is failing, and in reality, it sits in a block with these 4 other little houses that are going to be demolished soon. They're going to be building some huge high-rise there eventually.
Well, that's the interesting part too, is they've been saying that. I think you told me they've been saying that for 10 years.
They've been saying that for 10 years. So,
here's-
but so I go into this place, and maybe anybody else would walk in and go, oh, well, this place is going to be torn down. I don't want to put down roots with something like this, because it's going to be short term. But there was so much work to be done, as you can imagine, just a lot of remodeling to do, fixing things so that it would be safe for the children to be there. And it was a monumental task, but I was so sure this was it, that it didn't matter. Those things seemed small, and my husband and I worked so hard and together to make this happen. So that's the incredible part of it to me too, is that normally I probably would have walked into that place and said, no way, there's too much work here. I don't have the time for this. I don't have the energy. But my guide said, you can do this, and we'll supply you with the energy. So we went forward.
Good going, Jackie Bailey. I'm
What do you-
So the message, moral to the story, in short, okay, with Jackie, is guidance when it comes through is powerful. It's something that gives you chills. It's something that you can't say it didn't just happen. It's so strong. But here's the caveat. You got to be willing to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not, I'll tell you, everything that I've ever done about my story, Guided, talks about all the opportunities that guidance laid on my path. Now, you have free will. This is your life you're living. Okay, they don't have any business butting into that. You choose to go that way or not. But when you choose to go that way, when you actually choose to go that way, you're so excited, revved up, connected. You know, the whole thing is just right now on fire. By the way, guidance has a shelf life. Okay, act on it, or that window will close. Okay, and the validity of the guidance will be weaker than it would have been had you pounced on it the moment it happened. Good job, Jackie. But the point is, what Jackie talked about, they had to roll up their sleeves and work. They both, her and her husband, both had to get in there and get the work done. And it took a lot of work. So you can't be afraid of what you're asking for. The guidance comes through. Thank you. There's the path. And then a lot of people sit back and go, well, it's too much work. I had my second husband. We opened the first ISP up, internet ISP up in northern Arizona in 1994. It came live on March 6th of 1995. And when he came back from a Comdex show in 94, he goes, because he sold his business. And I said, sell the business because it's tormenting you. I've got real estate handled. I'm making money. Don't sweat this. Go to Comdex and see what's going on. He went there, came back. The internet was everything. Okay. I said, and I heard him talk. I mean, within minutes, I got chills running all through me. I went, oh my God. And we'd been saving, we had $50,000 saved up. And he kept saying, well, I've been in real estate. Why don't we buy this house? Why don't we do that? I said, no. The money's for something else. It's not for that. I can feel it. It's not right. And I said, oh my God, this is it. This is it. But if we don't act on it, somebody else is going to move in on this thing, and we will have lost our window of opportunity. It will have passed us. You know what he said to me? he did the research. Here's what it's going to cost to get the modems and get the phone lines and get everything. And we had just enough money. And I was making enough money in real estate every month to feed this beast in its early stages while it's, draining you, while, you're launching it, right? It's not in the black. It's certainly in the red. And I wasn't afraid. I'm never afraid, especially with guidance. I know they've got our backs.
But did you know then, Linda, did you know this process then, or were you
Oh,
just...
yes. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. I learned it from the time I was 20 months old, Todd, all
Yeah.
right? When my mom almost killed me and my guides appeared to me and then laid all these revelations on me, okay? My life was changed forever, all right? I was connected. I had this guidance and I knew it. I remembered where I came from. I knew this life wasn't all there was, all right? And I remembered me and I remembered them. All right, I had this thing. I had it harnessed at that age, all right? So he says to me, he goes, well, we had everything done. All the research was ready to go. We were ready to go and blow, all right? He says, I don't want to work that hard. I went, whoa. Whoa, you don't want to work that hard. Holy cow. I go, you know what? This is one time I said to him, I said, you're going to work that hard. And so am I. I mean, I'm already there. But he still wasn't connecting with this guidance, all right? We had been together for 12 years at that point. Do you think he would have got it by then? But if people resist it, if you just don't want to do the work, if you don't want to get in there, here's my point. We came into this life to get something done. We came here to make a difference. Right. We came here not to miss it again. We've been through this many times. We've come back. I guess I was tired of coming back.
Right.
So I was ready to get this, hence came guided, and this is again, and Jackie and Debbie and Todd, this is why I know I was a journal writer from the time I was 7 years old, because I had all these paranormal experiences happening to me, which all felt normal to me, but I knew I could never tell anybody about any of it. They would have locked me up. My mom would have loved to get rid of me, all right? And so I knew to keep my mouth shut. And I didn't even write and publish my book until I was 62 years old, all right? That tells you how careful I was about not letting anyone in on my best kept secret, this guidance, all right? But man, everything I touched, everything I did was an instant success every time. But it took work on every front, everything I ever did, everything they showed me and laid in front of me. It took all the energy and all the heart and soul I had to do this, okay? But I had the guidance behind me. They came in. It's time to start this. If you want, go for it. If you feel like you're inclined to do it. And then I go for it 3 or 4 or 5 years into it. Time to get out. Get out. Okay, there's going to be a crash. Get out. Okay, and always they warned me in plenty of time, but I had to act on that when they warned me. Okay, well, here I was in these businesses doing phenomenal. I mean, 6-digit incomes kicking it, And
well,
they're telling me to get out now, just when I'm really rolling. You can't argue with it. Go ahead, Todd.
I was just going to say, so it's been my experience that you're guided, you get the guidance, you create these visions, and yeah, you're standing there. It's like, this can be a lot of work, but it's only a lot of work in the very beginning to really kind of set the stage, and then you've put the pieces in place and it's kind of in cruise mode until, like you said, you're guided onto something else. And many times there have been many changes and many things in my life, and I'd look back and I'd think, but I listened to my guidance. This was what I was told, or this was the direction I was guided to go. And then I look at it and think, wow, I learned so much, and now it's time to move on.
And Todd, I love what you said at the end of that. See, here's what's going to happen for you, Jackie. I love what he just said. What's going to happen, it looks like what you're doing is this nice, tidy package of what you had in mind, what you wanted for so long. And it finally showed up because you know what, Jackie? You did the journal writing. You did the work to flush it out, to find it, to let it show itself to you. And when it did, you moved that way. However, what's going to happen for Jackie and for anybody who moves this way, by the way, it's more fun. It's easier. It's more of who you are than anything else you could have imagined. It lets you move into that and express that with all your might. What does that do? It does what Todd said. You learn so much more than you thought you were. It's not just this one vertical thing you had in mind. While this is all going on, when I was in real estate, my first, hit in the business in my early 20s, no education for any of it, no formal education. I was dealing with the GCs, general contractors, and forming the contracts. I never drew contracts before. How the heck did I know how to do that? Okay, and I sat with these GCs. I was 20 years old, and I'm telling them, we need that payroll. We need that check every Friday to meet our payroll, $30,000 a week in the early 70s. All right, and they go, yeah. I go, no. You have to understand, I'm coming to get that check. And they looked at me like, what a cute little girl. Okay, until they realized the first time they missed paying that, coming up with that check on Friday so we could meet the payroll, they found out that I meant business, okay? And I don't mean I was, but I was, okay? It took whatever it took. And I got guidance on how to get these guys to perform. I sit back and I'm only 20, 21 years old going, what the heck do I do? They're not going to pay us the check we need to meet the payroll, 30 carpenters, right? And I'd sit there and I'd let it come to me, and it worked every single time. Okay, it didn't come from me, you guys. It came through me, all right? So here's a moment of panic. I could have moved right into panic. I didn't expect him to do that, all right? And this is another point I want to make about this guidance. When you hit the wall and you're up against, oh my God, I'm getting sued, or something is threatening you, whatever, somebody's going to quit and I can't afford to lose that person or whatever. You sit back, like Todd took us through in the beginning of this, and you breathe and you let that go and you get your journal out and you start writing. You start writing about what it is you need help with, which we're going to work with Debbie today on. What do you need help with? And what's going to happen? Here's what happened to Jackie. I don't know if you know it, but I'm going to spill the beans and tell you now.
Yay.
When you started writing about this, by the time June hit, now you'd been incubating this for a month and a half by that point, okay? April, May, June, you were about a month and a half into this. All of a sudden, from practicing this, from trusting the process and doing it every day, all of a sudden, at one point, your guides were able to slip through the crack and infiltrate your writing. They were the ones that showed you this. They were the ones, that line item, what it was, they were pointing you toward. They were the ones. So what happens, this is a miracle. As you're journaling, all of a sudden, you'll just go, you'll look back at stuff you wrote and you'll go, I do not remember writing this. I do not remember writing these two sentences right here. Where did that come from? Right. Okay. And then what you do is highlight those two, whatever it is. Okay. And you know what, you guys, you're going to find out that you are in the one word for today is what, Todd?
Connection.
Oh, and you are connected. And you've got this connection. You've got this thing. And this is how it feels. And this is what it produces. Okay. This is way beyond anything you can ever imagine. It's unbelievable.
It's very cool.
Power of journaling and getting connected. It's so powerful.
So does anything come to mind, Jackie? Did something jump out at you? I know you worked with this process, and it's just amazing that you've documented it. I think that's even cooler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was feeling some frustration with some people that I was working with at the time and realized I have to get out. But what do I do if I get out? How do I get out of that situation? And as I was journaling that night, the answers came. The answers were very clear as to what I needed to do to move forward from the situation I was in.
Here's
was
another
amazing.
thing. I want to spit this in right now. The guides are there for you when you are ready. Jackie, you were ready.
Mm-hmm.
When we had that interview back in April, when you heard what I said, you were ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And willing.
That's right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I remember on that interview, she made a couple comments like, I really need to start journaling again. I think I need to really get into this. I think that this is, and, Jackie's belief system, you have a belief system that allows you to look at things, how do I want to say this? You could apply this to your belief system in a logical way that helped you understand it better. Did
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very cool. Okay. That is an amazing testimonial for you to use, Linda. Keep that one in mind. And I do want to just take a minute and remind, especially if people are in Seattle, we have an amazing event coming up with a couple of our guests that have been on the show in the past, and that's Ani and Brian, and it's called The Science of Influence. Did I get that right, Jackie? Science of Influence.
Yep.
Coming up in Seattle, October 4th and 5th. I think that both of them will be at East West Books on the Thursday before. I think that's the 3rd. And you can go to lifemasteryradio.net or Life Mastery Radio's Facebook page. That would be a better place. The links are all there. Check it out. Sign up for it. It's called The Science of Influence. And I think that this what stands out to you, Jackie, about this program that's got you intrigued?
Well, I think it's finding that connection with your destiny, right? It's learning I think it's trying to get rid of the negative thoughts that we have and allowing the positivity to come through, realizing that we are worthy of success and that someone is going to help us to determine what that is and give us a clearer picture. And so Ani and Brian are just tremendous people that are going to help us find that true mission that we each have, our true purpose, and how we then act on it. It's a lot like what Linda does in what she preaches as well. And so I'm really excited to be a part of it. Absolutely.
Her key word
And
in
Linda-
it is intention. Her key word is soul intention. And I'll be interviewing both of them live here in Seattle on October 3rd.
Yeah.
Nice.
On Story U Talk Radio. So lots of avenues to check it out. I highly recommend it. I think this is going to be a huge event. I fell in love with both. We just did an interview with them both here a couple of weeks ago, and I was in love with Ani at first, and now both of them as a team, they're a husband and wife. They're just amazing, and I think they're making a huge difference in the world. On top of that, Linda, you have an event on October 5th in Phoenix. Is it Phoenix?
Yes, it's in Phoenix.
Maybe
Phoenix,
tell us a
Arizona.
little bit about that.
Yeah, we're going to be there October 5th from 1 to 3 p.m. Arizona time, which will still be Pacific time, all right? And it's going to be about experiencing the proven spirit guide communication system. This is a system, and I'm going to show you what that is. The system, the guided journal writing system, consists of guided, which is my story. It's about how I learned this from the time I was a baby. I came in learning this. I came in flooded with this. It wasn't even something that, it wasn't something I had to look for or wonder about. It was right in my face from the beginning of my life. Like I said earlier, I think I've come around and done this many, many times, coming back into these lifetimes. And I'm kind of sick of it, So I want to get this thing right. And then this is going to be really funny to say, but people go, God, Linda, you throw your energy, you pour your heart out, you put everything into this. Why do you do that? People, that aren't willing to roll up their sleeves, Jackie, and do the work, right? That kind of scares them. And they ask me about that. And I just tell them, I'm shoring up my bet. God forbid, should I have to come back here again? Okay, I'm doing this so that maybe I have a running start if I forget, okay, and I don't get that mind wipe that amnesia wipe that when you come into this world, you get this amnesia, right? Well, they pulled that off the table for a little while when I was 20 months old and let me see, okay? And in doing that, I know that's how this all came about and what this was all meant to be. All right.
So show us.
Yeah, so just in case I have to do this again, I got a running start next time because this will be here already. All right. Okay, guided, my story, okay, and how I perfected this, learned this, nailed this, connected with this, and it just has proven to be, it's my passion, and my whole life is my passion. If you're coming from an authenticity, a powerful authenticity in your life, you're already connected. You're already connected, all right? You don't have to go looking for it. That's my story. The first part of the guided journal writing system. The second part is your story. It's about you taking the journey. This becomes your legacy, part 2, chapter 1 through 18, where you go back to your early life and find out where you got waylaid, hung up, you got feared out of this life. You were overwhelmed by it, and what happened in this world just took you over, and you lost yourself. All right, this gets you back. Okay, this is brilliant. This is simple. It's to the point that people have said, Linda, it's so simple, it's hard. Okay. Part 3. This second book is My Guided Journey. You take the journey. The third book is My Journal Writing. This is where I suggest you start. This is advanced, part 2. Okay. Part 3 is where you start doing what Jackie did. You start where you are. You open the book.
Oh, leave it up to Jackie to jump ahead of the class.
Good. And start writing about what you're feeling. Start writing about what's unusual, what unusual happened in your life, what happened out of the ordinary. Write it down. Because these are the things we're missing. This book, My Journal Writing, will bring you back into consciousness. You will then be aware of what's happening when it happens. You won't have to just labor through writing it down every time, writing it down every time, writing it down every time. It's good to do, and it's critical that you start here. But what will happen after a while is you will start, you will get the guidance, you will see the unusual or out of the ordinary moment happen. You will grasp it. You will process it. You will take it through those 4 qualifying questions, the 4. Remember the 4? Do you guys know the 4 qualifying questions? Okay, we're going to work with you on this.
But on this event on the 5th, Linda,
yeah,
it's not only in Phoenix, but you're going to live stream it as well.
Around the world. So
around the world.
Anybody can get on. Well, not anybody. I mean, there's limited seating. We have 100 seats on the online. And the first one we did almost sold out on that. So people are finding out about what I'm doing. They're liking it.
And you're going to take, on October 5th, you're going to take people step by step through the process. And so how long is the seminar?
2 hours.
2 hours.
It gives me just enough time to go through those 4 qualifying questions. And then at the crescendo, at the end of that when they wrote it down. How did it make you feel? What did you realize? And what action are you going to take? There's Jackie. Jackie took the action. All right.
Yay!
Not afraid of the work. Okay. What action are you going to take? Then they come up and sit with Ray and I, and we channel the guides, and they have a conversation with them.
So you're showing people how this works.
In every way.
Yep. Very cool.
October
5th.
Wow.
And go to lindadeir.com for more information. And Linda, I have to say, I was kind of scouting it out, and it's very, 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 very inexpensive, I think.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, everything we do, Todd, is reasonably priced,
right,
including the books. I mean, we are underpriced from everybody because I believe in value. I want people to get this, Yeah.
And I must say, you certainly have numerous testimonials. So if there's any doubt in your mind or anything, just the return on investment could be huge. Okay, so we have just about 15 minutes left, and we wanted to kind of show this process a little bit. We might have to move through it quickly a little bit, Linda, but we wanted to show this process and take somebody through it. And we have our guinea pig. I mean, we have the love of our life on the show with us today, Coach Debbie. And we're going to try this out. We're going to check this out and see how this works. So,
okay, Debbie, so what
all you.
We're going to start with my journal writing. This is the third part of the journal writing system. And we know that you probably don't have this book yet, but it's on Amazon. They're in paperback format, these two. Of course, because they're both journals. You got to write in them, right? Okay. So in part 3, I'm going to walk you through it. What I asked you to do earlier was to write down what is it you're trying to accomplish, achieve, overcome, understand. What is it that's right in your face right now that got your attention that needs you to pursue? Go ahead.
Sure. So it's sort of a 3-step process. I used journaling to help me decide to leave a job and start a life coaching business. And just like you said, it all released in front of me, exactly what I wanted to do. The idea of working with Joseph Campbell's work, the heroine's journey, memoir writing, legacy, everything fell into place. The next step was, what's going to be that bridge business? Everything with that bridge business fell into place, of creating a vacation rental home and using that as a financial support. Everything fell into place, doing all the journaling. And I was grateful to feel this connection, to feel guided, to feel that I was following my real life purpose. But I find now that I've sort of hit this zone of the abundance factor has really hit the valley. So the earnings are not there. So I really sat down with my journal again and thought, okay, how do I want to give this the upgrade? Because I remember the day of filling the desks and the students coming and the circle of connection. And I remember that, and I want that back. So as I journaled, what came to me was that the outside influence in the world was help people write their brands so that they can, promote their businesses. But my internal voice was like, that's not really what I want to do. Even though I have some talent there, what I want to do is help people come home to their own story so they can write any book, brand, anything they want.
Did you write that? Did you write this all down?
Exactly. So I went to my journal and just said, this is what's on my mind. What's going on? And what kept coming out in the journal is this quandary of, you want to do what you want to do, and yet you're afraid in today's world you have to know how to market it. And you're sitting in this funny quandary of, I'm ready to do the spiritual work. I'm ready for people to know about my system in writing, that it is a journey, it's an inner job. I'm ready to be known as that. And yet the thing that pulls away at my energy is, but I've got to market it, but I've got to draw it in. And when I hire the outside help, they're always saying, you really need to work with people on their brands. And it's like, I don't want to.
Okay, so when you wrote this all down, I want to ask you, and I see what's going on with you, by the way. And I'm going to tell you what it is, but I'm not going to tell you until you tell me.
Okay.
When you got this information and you wrote it all down, this is the beauty of this journal, by the way, my journal writing. Did you ask yourself how this all made you feel?
It made me feel alive, and I wrote it all throughout my journal. I feel alive.
Okay, until
I have to do the blankety blank marketing piece.
right. That's exactly right. That's the rest of how it felt. So that's important to write that in here and have that on the paper. Now, once you realized how you felt, both sides of the scale, what did you realize?
That I didn't want to write down the negative feelings because I didn't want to mess up my journey.
Okay, you got in the way.
I know.
Okay, what you needed to do, what you realized is that what the other things you said, I'm not good at marketing. I bumped into this thing where I need to become a businesswoman, where I need to take this and I need to treat it like a business. That's another thing you realized. There's two sides to the scale here. What you realized in one way, what you realize where your shortcomings are. Okay, then what action do you intend to take? That's the fourth question.
So the action I took was to hire a business coach that aligned with my vision as opposed to the previous ones that didn't, and to then bring forward what I had in my journal and start making what I'm writing about a reality.
And how did that work out?
Well, it's coming along, but it just feels slow.
Okay, and now I'm going to take the stage. Okay, I'm just going to move fast forward through this thing because I do this all the time. Okay, except your situation's unique, and everybody's situation is unique. What's going on with you, Debbie, is you need to get bold. You need to get bold.
That's exactly what she said.
Now, who
said?
My business coach. She said, you are afraid to be bold. And I said, yes.
Yeah.
Bold.
Well, you have a way about you, Deb, that for the little bit I know about you, and you're amazing, amazing, amazing person. I say that because I mean that. You have a beautiful delivery. You are impeccable in your interviews. Absolutely impeccable. This girl does not jump on an interview. She studies that person, and they're in her door. She's very, very careful about that, and she's determined to do it right, to do it the best.
I know.
That's hurting you. That's hurting you. You've got to come out. You're good. Here's what I want to say to you. You're good at what you do. Trust yourself. You don't have to be so careful anymore. Who cares what they think? Okay? Some people.
But do I look like a bold businesswoman? Do I look bold? I don't know if I'm her, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. And what you just said about looking like one, you need to start looking like one.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to step in.
Wait a second now. Hold on. No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever that looks like, Deb, whatever that looks like, and however that makes you feel, where you can trust yourself. See, you've been working on perfecting this to your standards. Okay? You're there. You've been there. Okay? And now you need to just come out. You just need to come out. Put it out there. Throw it out there. Do this. Do that. You know what the guides will tell you? Try everything. Try everything.
I just wrote that in my journal.
There it is. You see, that's why I know what to say. I feel it. I know it. The guidance comes through and delivers this to you. This doesn't come from me. This comes through me from this connection.
It says here, should I try everything or should I go get another blankety blank business loan? That's what I wrote down.
Wow.
That's what I wrote down. Should I try everything or should I get another business?
No. No, that's sneaking back into another hole, okay? Where you can be comfortable.
I don't want comfort.
So we just have about 5 minutes left, Linda. So what's the prescription? What are some things now that, I mean, certainly continue to journal, but just let it flow and listen to the guidance? Is that?
You know,
It's bold.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you
My
about this?
bold image.
What did I tell you? I said, people tell me all the time, it's so simple,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah.
What you just did, Todd, is you took simple and made it hard.
So
Well, that's kind of the feeling that I got too.
but if I understand my homework correctly, because I've been thinking about this, I just haven't had the guts to write this part down, is that I have to own the bold image that I've been afraid of, that I think belongs to someone else. I have to own my
Yes.
version of the bold image.
Yes, that's what you've been teaching everyone else. Okay, so what, and as you continue to teach them, put up a mirror so you can watch yourself teaching yourself at the same time, because that's what's going on.
You hit it. You hit it.
You know who's the best student of your program?
Me.
Thank you. Okay. Now that you've become exquisite at this program, it's time to just trust yourself. You know, when I do interviews now, and I do interviews all the time, when I do these interviews, I trust myself. I don't need to do all this research and study everything and make sure I've got it all exactly what they want me to say. And no, I know it. I know what I'm doing. Blindfolded, I know what I'm doing. So do you.
Mm-hmm.
Keep writing in your journal. Keep doing this and making sure that you are able to see it on the pages. Some of it will give you the willies because guidance knows you're ready, but Debbie's still a little bit, you know, careful.
Shy.
And Debbie wants to make sure she's perfect every single time. Debbie, you need to be imperfect. You need to be perfect, and the parts of you that are imperfect, we love you for that, Debbie. Come out.
Yeah. I want to be trustworthy. People use the word perfect, but yeah, I want people to trust me as a businesswoman. And the places that I don't quite feel skilled as a businesswoman and I don't trust, I'm like, well, why should anyone trust me in those little places if I don't know myself there yet? But you're right. I need to be bold and go, one of the things business women do is they fail forward and they make mistakes sometimes, but they also do good work.
That's right. And
Okay, so I hate to jump in here. I think this has been awesome, but here's what we're going to do. We only have a couple minutes left, and we're going to invite, don't you think, Jackie, we're going to invite Linda and Debbie back here in a couple of minutes.
An on-air therapy session.
follow-up.
Well, and just track the progress. And I just want to highlight the success because I know Debbie has it in her to be successful. I know she's been jammed up a little bit. I've tried to help, but you know, being her significant other, it's really hard for me to have any kind of say or influence. And it's
I
just the
don't
way it
feel
goes.
that way. I love your say and influence.
I know that, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't work.
Doesn't want to risk that.
So we're going to revisit this in, oh my gosh, a couple of months. Linda, I want to thank you
I'm
so
yours.
much for coming on the show today. And Jackie, thank you for your story. I think if you tuned in a little bit late, go back to the beginning of this and listen to the beginning because you will be blown away at the power of Linda's work and what she can teach. And it's a simple, simple deal.
Yep.
Thanks again, Linda. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Jackie. That's about all we have time for today. Tune in again for another amazing episode of Life Mastery Radio with Todd and Jackie and Debbie and Linda and whoever else that we bring on with us on the show. That's it.
Bye.
I would really appreciate it if you had and made it a great day. It's all about choice, and choose to tune in to Life Mastery Radio again. Bye-bye for now.